It has been a while since we've made any sort of update video on the field we farm down the road from where Sasha and Zelda and I live. This is about 1.5 acres of crop production we've been working on for a few years now. This is our 5th growing season here. I thought I would do a nice update video after yet another rain. We got quite a bit in the last month or two. But these fields are growing really nicely. I'd like to share an update on how things are working, starting with our garlic. We grow garlic at scale. We offer seed garlic, and hopefully, fingers crossed, things will work out where we'll have some really beautiful large heads of garlic available for sale sometime around August 1st, August 15th, somewhere in there. We'll let you know when that's the case. But what I thought I'd like to do is zoom in for a moment on this polyculture that we've been doing for a number of years. I've documented in the past. If I can find the video, I will link it here. The idea of garlic production woven in with nursery production, in this case specifically nut trees. This bed in front of me has a beautiful example. They're not all as abundant as this, but I'll start with this one because it looks the best. Here is a block of hardneck garlic. It's about a 4-foot wide bed roughly. And on the day of planting, so in our case we planted a little early, we planted late September, early October. Day of planting, 1, 2, 3 rows of garlic, and then in the middle was planted directly some seed for sparrow black walnut. So this just happens to be a cultivar seedling black walnut, all planted at the exact same time. You can see all the stems in there. There's hundreds and hundreds of them in here. And the garlic conferred some level of protection from voles and other creatures eating that seed during the winter. Now the garlic is acting as a nurse crop to shelter them from rabbit and deer browse early in the season. When we pull the garlic, these trees will be released to the canopy and grow for the rest of the season, and then we can dig them up in the fall before winter sets in, when they're really exposed to rabbits and deer. A lot of these beds have this included, so it's maybe 500, 600 heads of garlic in one block, but another 300 or 500 roughly trees in the middle. There's chestnuts, shagbark hickory, hazelnuts, and a bunch of others in here as well. This is a bed with hardneck again on the outside, and then chestnuts in the middle, planted, let's see, October 5th, 2024 is what the tag says. The voles found a few of these chestnuts, but there's still a bonus crop when the garlic comes out of a few hundred, maybe 100, 200 chestnuts that are hidden through here. We'll talk about when we get there. When the garlic comes out, we'll follow up with a fall crop of watermelon radish or green beans or cabbage or Brussels sprouts. We'll have to see. But the trees will be in there until the fall. In fact, this is Ashworth bur oak in the middle of this bed, doing a nice job of growing in the middle. And really nice functional polyculture, all planted at the same time in the fall. We've got our elephant garlic growing in really wonderful ways. We should have strong numbers available for seed this midsummer. This bed is a particularly ridiculous bed. We've really fluffed it up, added a lot of compost, and planted the absolute largest orbs, the largest like spherical singular cloves of elephant garlic. And some of these we are right now later June, but we haven't touched July yet, and we're at that diameter. We've got another 3 weeks or 4 weeks of bulb development now that the scapes are off. I'll be excited to share an update on how this worked out, but I would guess we have about 1,000 elephant garlic that are planted out from those orbs, so it should be a beautifully large crop. I don't know if you can see them, but if I seem distracted, it's because there are these tiny little flies zipping around my head, bopping me, so I might not make this video too long. In fact, if there's interest, let me know in the comments and we'll try to do a more in-depth tour of what's happening in here. There's a lot of complexity, and this actually is a little bit of a closer picture to what most annual, or a lot of annual cropping systems might look like. There's straight rows, that kind of thing, but there's a bit more complexity in here, and something you'll notice that it's completely lacking is any black plastic for weed suppression or any irrigation. In fact, you can see the walkways are doing the irrigation work. So these are all beds on contour, and we dug down very, very deeply to hill potatoes or to bank for future garden production. And these ridiculous rains that are coming through, we got 1.5 inches within an hour yesterday, and all of these were completely full, and they wick the water in. The root zones of the plants are not down in the water table or the flood state water table, but they have access to this deep, deep trough of water. We're using these potatoes here as a way to really eradicate perennial weeds. So as we hill them, we'll use shovels to dig this out and hill the potatoes with that. And by the end of the season, we should be able to take the potatoes out and transform that potato bed into a garlic bed. And then once the garlic is out, we can start doing more complexity like peppers and sea berry and sea kale. This year we expanded our tomato production and we have about 300 plants established. We might end up trading some tomatoes or sharing or donating, we'll have to see. But we had this Hortonova netting on a spool. There was enough of it to set it up. And I had these T-posts that I found really inexpensive from a Facebook marketplace purchased a bunch of years ago. I think I got them for like $3 a pop. And we can make these sharpened black locust staves. So the cost of creating a trellising system is absolutely minimal, negligible. It acts as a deer deflection system. So the deer want to come through, but they kind of get moved around, and we can put deer sensitive crops on the other side of this. So it's really helpful in that way. And we can do tomatoes every 2 feet or so with basil in front and beans and things like that growing. We'll do an update to see how the tomatoes work, but they're getting started. They're doing their thing. This block right here is moving a little bit further along and starting to look nice and green. The Hortonova netting has been pretty helpful to us because I don't want to do really detailed work on them. We want to set them in motion, get a nice crop, but not pick at them every single day. So every few days we can just take the flopping tomatoes and weave them back through the fence, back and forth, let them fill this whole thing out. They can crop and at a certain point get disease, and we'll get enough tomatoes for the effort for it to be worthwhile. It's really special that we've had access to this space. This is all through a verbal agreement with a really wonderful neighbor of ours. Big shout out to our friend Darren. He's been farming this for probably 60 years, this landscape, and at his scale, this is not that much. It's about 1.5 acres that we are farming. I think he gets a lot of pleasure from seeing the land be really productive and functional. He gets nice compliments from the neighbors as they walk by, and we share, well, Sasha makes some cookies every week or two, and we try to share meals together and strategize about future farming ideas. And you know, at some point we could always hand it back to him, but my hope is that we get to farm this with him for the future. Another fun little zone in here. Again, it's really straightforward. This bed is just 2 beds of garlic here that will transition into other crops. And then this is pretty fun. This is, what you're looking at is mainly bamboo. It's all dead stalks of bamboo. We found these ladies that live about a mile away that have this 1.5 acre bamboo stand of this crazy strong big variety for our area, and we offer to manage the stalks for them in exchange for the stalks and get to have this amazing trellising system. So like each of our peppers get to have a nice bamboo. We let them lay in the sun for a week or two to start drying out. We can always pull them if they root, but we've never had that happen. But this bed that's all this like chaos of bamboo, deep down in there, actually has all of our sweet potatoes. And we've found over the years that sweet potatoes is like extreme deer candy. They really go for it. So right out of the gate, we're just making this particular area absolutely ridiculous, complex, hard to access for even us. And we'll let the sweet potatoes start to form and grow. And I've got a big cache of more bamboo, so as they expand, we can just keep sticking this whole web of spiky chaos and hopefully be able to harvest a ton of sweet potatoes later on. We'll see. The northern end of this middle field has some pretty exciting perennial elements now. So there are 2 beautiful native Keystone Vegetables in here. There's So-chan, which is a very hardy, very strong growing, well, it almost looks like cannabis in here right now. But anyway, so it's a green that you can eat and it expands. It's in the Rudbeckia clan, so it's a little bit like Black-Eye Susans or Echinacea. This will get about 8 feet tall before it flowers. Sunchoke, similar picture to the north of them. There's 3 varieties in here, and they act as a just absolute solid wall. The grass does not sneak into these beds at all now. And I just periodically come through with a weed whacker and zip down the last little bits of grasses that are in here. But basically this is a superpower perennial vegetable corridor through here that supports our nursery work, has beautiful flowers and really nice physical structure in the field. And because it grows so abundantly, even if deer and rabbit come in here and eat a ton, we're not worried about it. We don't have to fence them. We don't have to like stress out about it. They're just definitely here now. Of course, it's starting to rain again, so I'm gonna wrap this one up pretty quick. More plants everywhere. Same picture of trying to address the fact that we keep, this season in particular, get these like absolute inundations of rain, so all the walkways keep getting scoured deeper and deeper, the beds built up more and more, so that we've got this swale system down on the end there. Those have been seeded out to a mix of sunflower and amaranth and some perennial plants like river locust and senna, with hazelnut growing there. But you can see that water standing in there, which is problematic if it's all at the same grade, and really beneficial if it can be gently wicked into the beds over time but not inundate and flood. And over here we're trialing a little Three Sisters planting. We've got corn, a couple of corn, 3 corn or so in each of these lumps. Winter squash to the south. We'll have to see. Once the corn gets a little stronger and bigger, we'll revisit this. You can see all through here, and add in an element of growing beans. But for now, I'm getting bit up, I'm getting dripped on, and that's enough. Thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well where you are. Let me know what kind of questions you have about this wacky field production system that we're exploring, some concerns or considerations, or what you want to see more detail on, and we'll endeavor to make the time to do that.